All right, we're live. What up, everybody? All right, let me share this out to several people. I want to get a bunch of people watching this. Let's see. Zero. Okay, let me click share. And let's see. More. All right, everybody come tune in. All right, let's see. Share this with a bunch of people. Oh, excuse me. All right, let's see. And excuse me. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
That's great. All
Busy.
right. Busier than a one-armed trombone player.
Yes, sir.
that's a good problem to have sometimes.
It is, but I'm taking a couple weeks where I still have daily deadlines for the writing and weekly deadlines for the programs and stuff, but I'm not doing much else. But
Okay.
I've got in July I've got a couple big speaking engagements coming up, and so I'm preparing for those. That's although it's tiring, you know, doing getting ready for anything is tiring. So
Oh yeah. Let's see. All right, let me click this, copy. All right, I just sent this to a bunch of people.
okay,
And now I'm going to share it one more time. I'm going to share it to my personal page. Let's see. Bam, bam, share. Let's see. Let me paste it. Shoot straight. And oh, let me do that. D-E. And then E-O. Wait, I spelled it wrong. Great. Bam. All right, I just we got one person tuned in. How y'all share this out? Let's get 10. If we get 10 people in here, that'd be awesome.
okay.
We need which whoever's supposed to hear this message will be in here. So
That's right. I totally agree. That's always the case whenever I speak or we put an event on or whatever. God knows.
yeah, I like that. I like that. I like the way you think.
Yeah.
All right. See. All right. And I'm gonna tag your personal page so people
Okay.
see it.
Please.
I'm glad I got my computer in front of me. This helps. All right. See three, and then I'm trying to see if I can get my friend Jessica to tune in. That'd be awesome.
Okay.
And if anybody tunes in, this got any prayer requests, y'all drop them in the comments section. All right. Boom. Boom. Come on, computer. Okay, there we go. And let me click it. Hit mute. Okay, cool. That's great. Um. Oh, while I got you here, I'm gonna pull this out. I'm gonna pull both of this. All right, I got this, and I'm gonna show you something cool. If I can find the other. Let's see. What did I do with it? Hmm. Oh, right here. Hey, hello everybody. So I got my good friend here, Dean Hulce, with God's Great Outdoors Trails to Adventures. So tell everybody about yourself a little bit.
A little bit. I live in the UP of Michigan, a long ways north of Alabama. Although I love Alabama, just not in August, September, July.
Too
Um,
hot.
yeah, and actually, we come down that way a lot. But God's Great Outdoors, is what the ministry that we do. It's been around 30 years. I've been here 3 years already, which is amazing to me. We're on the radio, about 300 different stations. We actually picked up 2 new stations this week that carry us, and then the podcast goes worldwide, of course. But people can catch us actually if they want to listen to the podcast. You can go to Trail to Adventure on Spotify or any place else, and we put out usually Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning. The podcast is out. You can listen to it. We have people all over. Last week I had, you Southerners probably wouldn't know who he is exactly, but Al Linder, who used to do In Fisherman, still
Oh,
does In
yes.
Fisherman. This week's podcast that just came on, or last week's, I guess, was Al Linder. We got a chance to. Al's 82.
That's so cool.
He's 82 years old, and he's got more energy than I had when I was 12. So
Dude.
we've had Hank Parker on, and a couple of guys
Oh, man.
from Duck Dynasty, and it's a blessing. I can't imagine doing anything else for a living.
That is awesome. See, I've met, let's see, the ones I've met from Duck Dynasty, I met Martin, Justin Martin, I met him.
Yeah.
And then I met Hank Parker.
Yeah.
Hank Parker, he came and spoke at the Beast Feast, Thomasville Wild Game Supper. He did an amazing job, and he was so nice to me. And I told him about my ministry, and he just wanted to keep talking. He just kept thanking me for my ministry as I was walking off. I was like, wow, that's so cool. And then that's cool. And then Al Linder, man, I love his show. At the end of each one, he always reads from the Bible, and I love that. I watch his show anytime I can find it on TV.
If you get a chance, he just shared his whole testimony. I'll tell you, I happened to be in Brainerd, Minnesota, actually Baxter, and I'm eating dinner with my family lunch, and I said, I know Al's office is right here close. It was literally, I was a block away. So I drove over and I went in. No one's in the foyer. No one's in the offices. I can see. Finally asked him, is Al here? They said, yeah. He said, right here. So he comes out, gives me a big hug. I've never met him before, but he knew he had been following God's Great Outdoors because he'd been on it years before. I said, you got time for a show? He said, I got 30 minutes. We literally ran to the truck, grabbed all the gear, set it up in the conference room, and we did 30 minutes. And we didn't talk fishing at all. He talked about his relationship with Christ and how he came to Christ.
So cool.
And then
that's awesome.
Hank Parker, we got there about 11 o'clock in the morning. We left late in the afternoon, and we sat in his office. All the big Bassmaster, bronzes all over his walls, all in the one corner of the office is all his trophies and plaques. And then the rest of the room is all mounts of huge whitetails and turkeys from around the world. So it's, I'm very, very blessed, and I can't imagine getting to do anything else for a living. And Linda and I always say, why us? Why are we blessed with that? So.
Man, I bet that was a pretty cool experience to see him at his place and get to see all of his Bassmaster trophies. And
yeah, we pulled up, and he didn't think he was going to have time to meet with us. We were on our way through South Carolina, and we drove up, and he's helping some old, I'd say redneck in a loving way, fix this little pram and get it ready to go out. And he said, he said, just wait. He said, when I get this done. And he brought us into his office, and we talked turkey hunting, we talked fishing for about 4 hours.
Wow, that's awesome. If everybody gets a chance after this show is over, go to Coon Hunters Outdoors Ministries YouTube and scroll down and you'll see the video I got of Hank Parker's testimony when he came to the Beast Feast. It's really awesome testimony. Like he talked about dealing with his alcohol addiction and how his dad wasn't there very much, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, amazing man of God, and he loves to share with people. He just loves to talk, and one of the things I loved about he loves to turkey hunt more than he loves to fish, but he has to fish for his sponsors. So he said, "I'm careful when I say that." So it's
because I love his TV show. He's got Flesh and Blood TV with his son, and he's got the Hank Parker's Outdoor Magazine. And I always just remember that, like when I was growing up, when I was a wee little lad back in my high school days, we watching Hank Parker, and he'd be on TNN Outdoors or whatever, and all you just hear is that little theme song. Where's he at? He's gone fishing, and the same song is still the same.
Yeah, like I said, we've got to every trip we make. Last year we had Martin and his other sidekick off of the show, off of Duck Dynasty.
Oh, John David.
Yeah. Anyhow, there was two. I get to do interviews on two, one day and one the next. And one of the cool things with them is I said, everybody asks you about the family, the Phil's family, and this was this was the first time they had been out since after Phil had passed away, and I just said, I don't want to. I said, I want to hear your testimony in the radio portion. They went on to the podcast, and their whole testimony was about how Phil had led them to Christ. So even though it was supposed to be about them, it was still about Phil and his boldness.
Yeah,
That's
awesome.
It was great. It was a great time with them.
Hi, Jessica. So have you seen The Blind yet? The movie The Blind?
I have.
Oh man. If y'all haven't seen the movie The Blind about Phil Robertson's testimony, wow. And you ain't a man if you don't cry during that movie. That's like, right. Whoa.
There's another movie. If my wife was here, she could tell. We just watched it. And it's about his relationship, his oldest son, Alan, and his wife, and what they went through in their relationship. I don't know if you've seen that one or not.
Oh, no, I have not. Yes.
Look it up. It's an awesome, to see how God moved in there and saved the marriage is amazing.
Because I was watching, so I watch their podcast, The Duck Car Room, every Tuesday and Thursday. And Al was on there the other day. And sometimes I watch Unashamed. That's a good podcast too.
Yeah.
And Al was talking about the other day when they had him on the Duck Call Room about that movie, but I hadn't really watched it. But if you say it's good, I know it's good.
It's good. It's sad, but to see what God did is amazing. It's similar to his dad's story, but Al was a pastor when a lot of things went on in his and his wife's relationship, and how God did it was amazing. So it's worth seeing.
Wow, that's awesome. So I got something cool to show you. Let me see if I can get this to. Bam. Okay. Let me see. Okay. So while that's posting, all right. So y'all be sure and go like Dean's Facebook there. Trails to Adventures, God's Great Outdoors, Trails to Adventures. And he's got and what's your website?
It's godsgreatoutdoors.org.
godsgreatoutdoors.org. So you can go to the website, you get all kind of cool stuff from his website. So let me show you this. I've got this awesome devotional Dean sent me, and I've been reading some of it, and I love that you autographed it too, and it's got the message you wrote in there. That's so cool, man. I love this. And then another thing that's cool is you had reached out to me last year about your cookbook you were doing.
Yeah.
And you asked me to get maybe a coon recipe or something to go in there. And I tried to get Mr. Gerald to get me the recipe from his wife. Yeah. And his wife said, well, Gerald, you know how I cook it. You just do it. And Gerald said, no, Jared's wanting this from a cookbook. And so I didn't get that in time. But what I did get was my mom's recipe for bluegill, fried bluegill. And it's in the very back of the book. And I'm going to show everybody this. This is pretty cool. And so I love this. I love this cookbook here because it shows you. There's a lot of cool recipes I'd like to try out of here. And go towards the back here. And let's see. I forgot the name of the page it was on. It's right here on the back.
I don't even
There we
know the
go.
pages of my own recipes. So
Page 155. It is Southern fried bluegill, and that's my mom's recipe right there. So that is so cool that you got that in there. That's
yeah,
this book is awesome. And look, I told my mom, I said, look, that's awesome that your recipe made it in a cookbook.
I should
And
pay you.
yeah. And then I love at the bottom, so it says, so it just shows you how to cook it. And at the bottom it says Mark 6:41. And he took 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up towards heaven, he blessed the food and broke the loaves, and he gave them to the disciples again and again to set before them. And he divided the 2 fish among them all. That's a cool story in the Bible.
I always wanted to do a cookbook. Long before I did that one, I just loved to do wild game cooking, and when I came on to God's Great Outdoors, and I'd already published, I think, 6 books at that time. So there you go. There's my better half.
That's awesome.
I always say it's my best 7/8 actually, but that's not a lie. Anyhow, one of the things and I said, if I'm going to do that cookbook, it's going to have a purpose. And really, that cookbook, if anybody, if anybody listening, or if you know anybody, the reason I did that was so if you have a not only just for a cookbook, but if you have a hunting buddy or fishing buddy that doesn't know the Lord, everybody that loves the outdoors loves a cookbook. Well, the back half of it, after every section, there's a devotional. Every page is scripture, and then the back 3 or 4 pages actually tell the plan of salvation connected to the outdoors.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like I'm looking at right here, it says, how does a person become a Christian? The Bible tells us, how can man be right with God is a very complex question, yet with a very simple answer. And yeah, this is cool. So if y'all want a awesome gift to give somebody, or if you just want to give for yourself, Jessica says that's so awesome. But yeah, y'all get you this cookbook. It's very good, and it's got all kinds of awesome recipes. If you're a redneck country boy like me and you love eating wild game food, like here's one: venison Reuben bake and venison rumaki appetizers. I guess I got that word right.
Yes,
But it's got
for
pictures.
For a southern redneck, that was great.
Like, yeah, I'm surprised I got that.
If you look on the last page of venison, I think it's 60 something, I don't remember, but that's my family's. It's venison and milk gravy, and that is the recipe that's been about 4 generations in my family. And honestly, it's the best venison recipe that I've ever had, or tried.
World's best venison recipe, Nancy Hulce. Ingredients: 2 pounds of venison steak, 3/8-inch thick, 6 tablespoons of butter, 2 cups of flour, 2 medium sliced, 1/4 inch thick.
Onions. That's supposed. It was a good story. Or it says 3/4 or sliced. It doesn't say anything after it. That's supposed to be onions. That was a misprint. And my son found it, and he says, "Dad," he said, "there's something missing on that page." I said, "Well, it's onions." I said, because he's allergic to, the son that found it's allergic to onions. See, I said, I left the onions out so you didn't get sick. So that wasn't really the case. It was just a misprint. This is starting to sound like an infomercial here. So
hey, that's, it might as well be. So yeah, this is, turn my camera around. Yeah, 3 cans of evaporated milk, salt and pepper to taste. Man, I ain't gonna lie, that sounds amazing.
it is.
I don't know how to cook that.
See that picture right next to it?
Yes.
That second, I think I'm right in the middle of that picture. That was 1982, a buck pull at our hunting camp.
Really, 1982. Wow, that's cool.
My dad's in there. My best friend, a couple of my brothers. So That was a
Wow.
great couple days of hunting.
1982. That's cool. That was the good old days back before hunting was so celebrity based.
Yeah, yeah, and everybody cared about the score instead of just having fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And so we got a cool topic for tonight. So the topic is um patience and waiting on God's timing. And I can tell you, like, I've seen things, I've seen things happen in my life that if I would have rushed it, it wouldn't have done me any good. It would have actually made things worse. And because I was patient and let God handle it, then it started working. And sometimes we as people, we get we get like so impatient, whether it's a video game, whether it's something we're doing in life, a business, whatever the case, and we rush it. And sometimes when we rush it, it makes things worse. And if we as Christians, if we're patient, pray about it, and trust God, then everything's going to work out. And it's on His timing. So you can't rush God.
No, no. It's I'll tell you quick. Just last week was the end of our turkey season. Just went out on Sunday. Last week,
Wow.
a friend came up and he helped me put a new hot water heater in. He did some work around my house, the yard with me, and I said, "Well, come on, let me go call a turkey in for you." And the first place we stopped, I called the bird in, and he missed. And he was pretty down. And we went all day, and I actually killed the bird before he did. He missed it, and I killed it. And by the end of the afternoon, I called in a real big gobbler, and he killed it. And I said, "See, if we'd have killed that first one, look at the time we would have missed sitting side by side in the woods, just talking about what God was doing." And I think that's the best part of hunting to me. It's really just being with somebody. There's a social aspect in hunting, especially when you got a Christian brother or sister with you that you can visit what God's doing. And then if you kill something or not, it's worth the time.
Yes, I like that. That's a good way to look at it because so many times, like a lot of people would not have seen that perspective. A lot of people would have just got mad and upset. But um, like we have to be not only in the Word and praying every day, but we also have to listen and do what God tells us to do. And if you're praying for something to happen and it hadn't happened yet, just keep praying, and it's gonna work out.
And if it doesn't work out the way we want it to, or think it should, we're the answer might be no. I mean, God isn't always going to answer our prayers the way we want them, but he's going to answer them the way he knows is best. And whether that's in hunting, and I get my wife on here, she could tell you a story about her biggest Michigan buck that she prayed in. And of course, every other hunter in camp now wants her to pray so they can get a big buck, but doesn't quite work that way. But she literally she prayed, Lord, she was praising him for the beautiful day, everything else, and she just prayed very specifically. This buck that we had on camera, 3/4 of a mile away, never saw it. One day was all we got. And she's praying, Lord, I'd love to kill that buck. I'm going to tell everybody about it. She's told people on 2 different shows now about it. And that buck, within 2 hours, that buck came out the exact place, downwind, 60 yards downwind of her stand. And it came out, walked right out, and she shot it. And
Wow.
and she's given God all the glory. She tells people that story, and the rest of the family, we just roll our eyes and sit. We don't even sit patiently. We jabber and make fun of it. So, but it's true. It's God's timing, and there's other days where that doesn't work, but He's got a purpose in that too.
That's right. And there's a Christian rap artist I listen to.
That
He
still that
doesn't.
still that still kills me. A Christian rap artist and Christian hard rock that you like. So
Yeah, so there's a Christian rapper I listen to. His name is oh shoot, my mind went blank. Oh, D Rock is the artist name, but his real name is Derek Johnson. And for a various reason or two, he's not doing music anymore. But he has a song called Pain or Purpose. And he said, he's talking about people that go through pain and going through a hard time. And one of the lines in the song, he says, um, there's a purpose through the pain that we may not see. And then he says, let's see, and he made me new and it's finally right. Now I see, or something. It's
Hmm.
along those lines. But there's a lot of times we're going through stuff and, we don't understand why we're going through this pain. We don't understand why this is hurting us, why we're dealing with this stress. But there's always a purpose for it, and you come out stronger if you just trust God and
Yeah.
let Him take that stress from you.
I was working yesterday actually with my pastor on some talks I got to give coming up, and we were looking at different scriptures in Rome. We were actually working through Romans 1. I'm speaking in Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky Bible College in August, but and I ended up in Romans 8, and with Romans 8:28. That was my dad's favorite scripture. He's been gone for about a dozen years now, but it was for all things work together for good. Those that love God and those that are called according to His purpose. And with that, we got to know, even if the answer is no when we pray, or God's timing is wait, and that's really what we're talking about. If God says wait on me, and whatever that is, we can trust that He's got a purpose in the wait, whether it's no, yes, or wait. He's got a purpose in that, and we can trust that. And that's a hard thing. I think it's probably a harder thing for guys than it is for women. Maybe I'm wrong, but but
Yeah.
I'm trying to think where the verse is found, and it's uh, 2 Peter 3:8 that talks about that 1,000 days is like um, 1,000 years is like a day, and a day is like 1,000 years. I think is how that goes to God. So we take eternity, which we can't comprehend. Life is just a fraction of a second compared to eternity. So to God, when He says wait, or you know, just count on me, I can handle this. To Him, it's nothing. I mean, it's literally, if it took a year, then I'll tell you a story about a 2-year wait, just about with what I'm doing in ministry. But it's that what we think is a long wait, and we get impatient. Look at Sarah and Abraham. God says, "Wait a year, and I'm gonna make a great nation out of you." And what do they do? But then, first of all, Sarah laughed and said, "There's no way I'm going to have a baby because I'm too old." And but instead of waiting, she gives Abraham her maidservant, who has a baby with him. That's how the Islam. That's where that part of that, and all the conflicts that go on now came because they didn't wait, and just waiting on God's timing, because He had made a promise and He was going to come through with it. So it's waiting on God and His timing is probably the hardest thing for us to do, but it is important.
Man, I can tell you, um, like for instance, with the I tell my awesome friend Robbie Johns all the time. I tell him all the time about it's on God's time and not ours. And so, like for instance, our business we have together that I'm helping him with, fuel arrestor business.
Hmm.
Um, we just had one of my awesome friends, Jeff, come on board to help us, and um, like and Robbie's been working with this fuel safety product for years. And I tell him all the time. I've told him thousands of times, hey, it's on God's timing. And I've been doing what the Lord's been telling me to do. I've been passing out these witnessing tracts that I give out all the time, and then been doing this, that, and then Robbie's been doing his part, and then boom, recently it just started. It just started unfolding right in front of our eyes. Phase one, and Robbie's been trying this for a long time, many, many years.
Mhm.
And then I've been helping him about 3 years now, three, maybe four. And I can start to see it unfold. And, we could have quit and gave up a long time ago. But if you wait and trust God's timing and do what he says, then it's going to all work out. And I got a feeling one day that this business is going to take off and it's going to be like a household name in the racing industry. And that would be a huge blessing. But until then, I'm still going to keep praising God and keep trusting that he knows, because I don't know what's best. I may think I do. I may think I want this, 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 but God says, no, 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 slow your roll. It's like, I want this, 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 because I know, because like he sees stuff that we don't see. And then after a while, when it's unveiled to you, you're like, wow, I'm so glad that I didn't do this or I didn't do that, because if I did, it would have led to destruction.
Right, right. Well, me getting into God's great outdoors, I felt called to God's great outdoors. It's been around 30 years. 5 years ago, I really felt called to come alongside or to do something with God's great outdoors. I had even offered to Jerry Caluette, the previous host of the radio program, had gotten real sick, and I said, "Hey, I'd come alongside you. I've got someone that's willing to put up the money to buy the ministry." So him and his wife had some money, and he said no. And my personality normally would have been just pushed through. I know best, or so I think. And my wife talked. She and I talked, and we just decided we're going to wait and see what God does. 2 years later, the board, Jerry had passed away. From the funeral home, the board called me and asked me if I'd be interested, and didn't cost me anything. Didn't
Wow.
it was so we prayed for 2 years. So when the board said, "We'd like to offer you a position," I don't call it a job, running this ministry, and they said, "Would you like to pray about it?" I said, "No, I've been praying about it for 2 years." Exactly what they offered me was exactly what we had prayed about, and it was in God's timing. It wouldn't have worked the other way. As it turns out, in the end, it wouldn't have worked. And it was God's hand in all of it. So,
Man, that is so cool to hear that.
yeah,
That just goes to show you that you can't rush things. You can't rush God. Yeah, we want it now. We think we know what's best. We don't. In reality, we don't know what's best, because if we did, we're not God. So
no, I had on the same line. I had a missionary here that I took hunting. He hadn't hunted in years and hadn't really had a chance, and he happened to be here. I invited him to go hunting with me. He's actually a guy by the name of Don Shire, and he's played his trumpet all around the world, and he goes and preaches all around the world. Plays the trumpet. He's an amazing trumpet player. So I put him in a stand, and I had saved this stand for him. And I had actually been watching a buck, and he killed the best buck of his life. And we got stuck in the mud trying to get in and get it. It was torrential downpour. And we tried and tried and tried, and I get stuck, couldn't go forward, couldn't go back. I got in a valley, and I just was making deeper ruts, and it's pouring rain. It had been about 6 inches of snow. It all melted, ran in this hole. And so
ooh,
I called the farmer, and I said, "Hey, can someone come out and pull me out?" He said, "Well, yeah." He said, "I'll send one of the kids," because the farmer and his wife happened to be at my house for dinner, and I'm late getting there because we're stuck. So I hang up the phone, and I said, "Hey, we ought to pray about this." And he said, "Yeah, that's probably true." I said, "My wife would have said first, let's pray." Prayed about it and literally put it back in drive and crawled right out. And
ah,
it was when I counted on him instead of doing my own way that it worked. And it was God's timing. And he showed me that he knows better. And if we give those, that's a small thing that's, doesn't change your life, but in the small things, in the big things, if we count on him, we can be assured that it's going to be done right. If we do it again, my wife reminds me all the time, if I go by what I want, it doesn't always turn out good. So, But so anyhow,
That's awesome. And
yeah,
like we tend to mess things up when we try to do it ourselves. And I've been there just just about anybody thousands of
yeah,
times where I
yeah,
try to do it myself and I screw it up every time.
yeah, yeah. I had a
And
great. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was going to tell you, just the other day, I'm looking at your logo in front of me here on the screen, and I had a coon hunter here the other day, and this guy, I had never met him before. He's reading my devotionals. He lives in Minnesota, 6-hour drive from me, and he had heard about our wild game feed. We don't call them beast feasts up here. That's a southern thing, but
Yeah.
our wild game feed at our church. And he had heard about it. He said, "Hey, I'd like to come over." He drove 6 hours over to come to our wild game feed with me. Stayed at my house in the bunkhouse out back, and so anyhow, he just came back and hunted. And we were talking hunting stories, and you'd enjoy him because most of his life he had coon dogs. And
Oh, cool.
he had told me one time of a dog that he said he didn't run junk, and he said that if he told you there was a coon up the tree, you better stay there because the coon's up there. And he said he ran one time and he killed a coon and he pulled the dog on the leash a ways away and set him out again. He went right back to the tree, ran around it. Sure enough, shot a second coon. Went to get him back on the trail again. And he pointed him off and dog ran back to the tree. And he said, we were there a half hour trusting that dog knew more than us. And he said, eventually I made a noise and I saw an eye peek around the tree. And that dog knew there was a third coon, but he said, I knew that I could trust that dog, that he wasn't going to lead me astray. And, you know, calling God, relating that to God isn't really the right way to do it, but it's an example of when we know we can trust and we can trust God. Like he knew he could trust that dog. If the dog was at the tree barking, he knew that there was a coon up there. And if we know that God's got our best interest, and Romans 8:28 spoke to that, we can trust that He knows what's best for us, that we don't.
Man, that's awesome. And I tell you something else. One of my logos, it's not my new one, but my new one's half tree, half cross, and I'm
Okay.
patriotic, red, white, and blue.
Mm-hmm.
And the red on the cross represents Christ's blood, which is
Mm-hmm.
cool. I like how Ron made it like that. And so many years ago, I've been doing this ministry since 2017, and it may have been 3 years ago. I can't remember, but I listened to a Christian rock band called Rusty Ship, and the lead singer, his name is Russ. His middle name starts with a T, and his last name is Ship,
Really?
Shipp.
That's
That's
awesome.
cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. And so Rusty Ship is a band. They have nautical theme music. And every one of their albums they've ever done is just all nautical themed, but it all relates to Christ. It's all
Mm-hmm.
Christian music. And one reason they nautical themed is because, well, they said there's so much vast stuff in the ocean, they never run out of content to write about in their
Right.
songs, which is cool. And I was looking to see if I have one of their CDs right here. I'll show you. So this is, yeah, I'll show you. So this is their, I think this is, yeah, this is their new album. It's called Capsized Empire.
Okay.
Is the name of it. And then they autographed the back of it. It's got
Okay.
cartoon characters of them on the ship. But anyways, so Russ, it was either Russ or their drummer, AJ Newton, had asked me on one of my logos. It was and it may be, no, it's not my painting there. But anyways, on one of my logos, it's got the dogs treed on the cross and the
Mm-hmm.
coons up on top of the cross. And they asked me, I think it was Russ that asked me this, because they had seen that I shared their music on my ministry's Facebook.
Yeah.
And he asked me, he said, hey, what does that mean exactly, your logo? And I've never put any thought into it. I just thought
Uh-huh.
it was a cool logo for coon hunting and telling people about Jesus. Well, then when he asked me that, it made me think. And I said, well, I said, you see that coon up there in that tree, and you see the hunter down there with the light. Well, he's looking up in that tree for that coon. Well, we as Christians, we're looking up to that cross for Christ.
Mhm.
And so when he asked me that, I said, that's what I'll roll with. And God sent that to me. And I said,
Yeah,
you know what? That's what my logo means. And so I've been using that.
yeah, and that's great. And as you were talking about Rusty Ship and that there's so much in the ocean to write about it. But you think about the outdoors and you think about, I've got 38 years of guiding experience. There's every day there's something that I can write that happened in that 38 years that God brings stuff back to me every day of something that happened that's got a scriptural connection and a spiritual application to whatever that happened on that day. And it's never ending. I keep telling my wife I got to keep hunting, so I got more to write about. So, and she
Wow,
doesn't
that's
really she
awesome.
doesn't really buy it, but it sounds good. So
Well, so you was talking about your radio show.
yeah,
So I'll get with Jason. So it's Jason is the owner of the station. It's Jason, me, JT, and then our awesome friend Jeff Brooks joined the team recently.
Mhm.
And Quake stands for King Without a Crown every day. Um,
Okay.
we would be glad to, and I'll ask Jason to see what he thinks to have your show or podcast
Yeah,
on our network, radio network.
yeah, I'd love that. Like I said, it's we've grown to stations around the country, counting their translator stations, different places that are broadcasting. We're over 300 now. And
Wow.
we go everywhere from. It's funny, we've got a station on the north shore of Alaska, on the north slopes, just off, and then all the way down to south of Houston, and then all the way over to South Florida, all the way back up to Maine, and all the way across the Great Lakes and back out to the mountain states again. So it's
Wow.
really growing. It has nothing. It really has nothing to do with me. Literally, I talk into a like the old radio stuff we talking or from Oh Brother Where Art Thou? We just talk
Yeah,
into a
yeah.
cam. So,
Well,
but
speaking of Jason, there's Jason right there. So yeah, Jason. I don't know if you caught that last part, but Dean does a awesome radio program, and we could add that to the station. And there's JT. What up, JT? JT has a show coming up later. JT's later tonight. JT is going to be interviewing Jason Wayne, who's the lead singer of a Christian rock band called Drown the Planet. So shout out to JT. JT's show is called the Facing Goliath Rock Show. What up,
I
JT?
I'd be glad to. Anything I can do to help you guys out.
Okay, great. And um, and so your show is like just hunting and fishing, and then sharing the Lord with people.
Yeah. And actually, I did a show yesterday with a pastor, and he doesn't hunt or fish at all. So I thought, okay, but he's got a great testimony. I said, how are we going to tie this? Well, we tied it into ticks because all hunters are concerned about ticks getting on there, and now there's so many diseases that ticks are carrying. It's a little scary. Well, he had a 3-year-old son that got bit by a Rocky Mountain spotted tick, ended up with
Ooh,
Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and died in 3 days at
ooh,
3 years old. And he told that testimony and a lot of tears. That was the only connection we had to the outdoors, but it was worth. I'm going to play it, even though there's no hunting or fishing in it.
sure.
The story is worth hearing. So,
Oh, I agree. I agree. Yeah, there's always room for stuff like that.
well,
And
absolutely,
JT's a big outdoorsman, a deer hunter. So I know JT, I love your show.
yeah. And the only other show I did that was not really connected. I happened to be in Florida when during the during the big bike week down in Daytona, and
Uh,
in Daytona Beach, and I thought, man, a lot of hunters, fishermen love to bike, love to get on their motorbike and ride, and it's really an outdoor experience. They're riding because they love to ride. So I actually went to a biker's church and interviewed a pastor and his wife. and they drove up on their Harleys and with their tattoos, and but just loved the Lord, and it was a great show of what they're doing, through biking to win people to Christ.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I like I said, I'm so blessed. The people that we've reached, interview right now, I got enough programs to run through almost a year from now because God just keeps dropping people in my lap, and we travel all around the country. I missed you in Alabama. I was going to stop and see you this year, and we just got so
Yeah.
busy, and I left Florida, and I was there an extra 2 or 3 days. That's why I didn't get to stop, because people were just lining up to get interviewed. It was pretty cool.
Well, I tell you what, whenever I do get to finally meet you, it's going to be really cool. We're going to get a picture together because
Yeah,
I've
that'd be awesome.
I've always enjoyed it when you come on the show, and I love all your stuff you do, your ministry, and all that. And
I'll make the time next time I'm down. I got great friends in
okay,
Montgomery, and I had some
awesome.
friends up in Clanton, up northwest of Montgomery. I got
Yeah,
some
yeah.
friends up there.
Clanton's 2 hours from me. Montgomery's a little bit over 2 hours from me.
Okay, well, we got to make it happen. And this year was
And
my fault.
that's okay. Hey, I'll even take you coon hunting.
Well, that'd be awesome.
Because I got a video on my ministry's YouTube I'll have to send you to watch later. But I took my friend Shep Lucas coon hunting with us. And I know him through racing and being the announcer at a dirt track at Tri-County Speedway. And his son races. Shep used to race himself, but now his son races. And so Shep had been telling me how he grew up coon hunting. And he's like me, he loves Jesus. And so I invited him coon hunting, and I filmed the whole thing with my video camera. And you can see it on the video. He shoots out some coons, and then you can see the great the camaraderie testimonies we had. It was a lot of fun. And so, if you ever get to come down, I'm gonna make sure and video you shoot some out.
That's one thing. Believe it or not, all the hunting I've done, not only have I never coon hunted, I don't think I've ever shot a coon in my life.
Really?
Really? I mean, we got tons of
Oh,
coons. We got tons of coons here, and to be honest, I enjoy eating them. I don't eat them all the time, but I cook them if we're doing a wild game feed or just a game dinner with a few guys or something. I'll cook them. But I honestly don't think I've ever shot a coon that I can remember.
wow.
Now, I mean, when I think about all the other things I've shot, it's pretty amazing that I've never shot one.
Well, that's on the bucket list is to
Okay.
wacky and stacky a coon. And
Yeah.
I tried it before at the Beast Feast that the Thomasville Baptist Church does every year. I didn't like it, and
Yep.
Miss Gerald told me, said, no, 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 no. So you got to find a little old black lady who knows what she's doing, and get her to cook it right, and it's good. And I said, okay. Well, then I look up, and Real Tree's got a recipe, and I hate alcohol with a passion. I hate anything to do with alcohol, but Real Tree has a recipe for maple bourbon glazed grilled raccoon, and they took bourbon and they cooked the coon with it,
Right.
and they glazed it in barbecue sauce. That looks amazing. I ain't gonna lie.
When we've had it, it's a little, it's similar to like eating rabbit or something like that. If it's
Uh-huh.
cooked right, it's excellent. And there's very few things that I've eaten that I wouldn't do again. Muskrat was one of them that we cooked muskrats for our game feed one time. Not again. Tasted like a swamp to me. So
Ugh.
I did cook, a couple of years ago, turkey hunting in Texas. I killed a big rattler, and I cooked that. But believe it or not, a 6-foot rattler, this big around, I got this
Yeah.
much meat out of it. It was a lot of work, but it was great. You know what I did with it? We had 350 guys at our wild game feed here at our church, and I cut it in little pieces and fried it. You couldn't tell what it was till it's fried. But I walked around and got to talk to all the guys that I didn't know that were at our church that don't come here, and offer them a taste of it. But I got to meet all these guys, and I said, so next year I think I'm gonna. I haven't. Maybe I got to go shoot a gator, which I've done before down by northern Florida. But I think I'd go do that and then serve gator, something that Yankees up here never. I guarantee if you asked 1,000 Yankees up here, they've eaten
Yeah.
gator, one of them would say yes. Nobody else would. So
Yeah. I tell you what, I love fried alligator. Like it tastes so good, it makes you want to slap your whole family and your cousins.
now there's a good Southern thing. No, nobody up north would ever say that. So,
And Tom Big Bird says Nutri-Rat.
yeah. Well, that would probably taste. Actually, beaver is very, very good. But nutria is just a small tooth beaver. That's all. So
Yeah,
with
Nutri-Rat's like the redneck cousin of the beaver.
that's right. That's right.
And I watched that episode of Duck Dynasty where the guys took that rattlesnake to the processor, and they told him we want some sausage made of it. Then they took the Nutri-Rat and made some Nutri-Rat sausage and ate it. I'm like,
Beaver's no different, but it's actually my grandson Micah made me stop for a roadkill beaver one time, but we knew it was fresh because it was on one of my leases and it wasn't the night before, and it was there early in the morning. It was actually frost covered on the road, and he made that beaver, and the guys at camp said, "No, I don't think so." Until one tried it and said, "This is good." It tasted like some of the best roast beef you'd ever eat. So
really?
if a beaver's that good, nutria is probably the same thing. It's just the idea that it's this huge rat doesn't help. So,
And like I've had people tell me beaver is really good. That's a
yeah,
dark meat. So
it tastes just like good roast beef if it's cooked right.
okay.
You wouldn't honestly. You could pass it off for roast beef. I don't know
Wow.
how we got on this off of God's timing, but
Okay. And speaking of God's timing, I've got a song I'm going to play,
okay.
and if you got another device, you'll be able to hear it. But this is a new song by Matthew West. You ever listen to him?
Oh yeah, all the time.
I love some Matthew West. He was on the Winter Jam tour, and Disciple was my favorite that was playing. Big Bird says stringy, and so he was. So it was Disciple. It was New Song because New Song puts on the tour. Then it was the Three Heath Brothers, and trying to think of the new singer. Oh shoot, can't think of her name. She's got a beautiful voice. And Katie Nicole and Chris Tomlin, and trying to think of that other girl's name. I've got a bunch of her music. Anyway, she's famous too.
And
And I didn't really. What
a
now?
mild for you.
Yeah. And the Disciple was the one because they're hard rock. They're Jesus everything, but they're just hard rock music. And then when I saw Chris Tomlin, I was like, eh. I mean, he had one good song I say one good song. All his songs are good, but he had one song that was upbeat that I really liked. I was like, yeah, this is good. The rest of it sounded like something I'd hear on K-Love. And so and then so Matthew West sang some new songs from his new album, and I love his music because it's not the same old boring slow stuff. It's really good. Well, this song is a newer, slower song that he did. His new album is called "Don't Stop Praying," and this song kind of goes in line with the message we have, and it's called "God's Hand." And I'm gonna play this, and everybody watching, I want y'all to tell me what you think of this song.
It was raining one morning, I was interstate driving, lost control of that wheel and those tires started sliding. Police on the scene said only one way I survived it, God's hand. We were 7 months along, it was baby number 2. Doctor said something's wrong, a little girl came too soon. Oh, but now she's 15, playing guitar in a room, God's hand. I've seen miracles no earthly explanation can explain. Signs and wonders I don't understand. Yeah, my story's got his fingerprints on every single page. Oh, I know I've been the fool, thought he had a better plan, but these days I'm leaving the too. I watch her point the way when I don't know what to do. Every storm and every struggle, ain't no doubt would let me through. God's hand, yeah, it holds me tight when I'm shaking like a leaf. Always provides whenever I'm in need. Ain't a sunrise or a sunset I don't look up and see God's hand. Yeah, I've seen miracles no earthly explanation can explain. Signs and wonders I don't understand. Yeah, my story's got its fingerprints on every single page. And I know I've been the fool, thought he had a better plan. But these days I'm leaving the pen in God's hand. Oh, in God's hand. It's got healing in its touch and peace that calms the waves. It's got power to move any mountain standing in my way. Oh, it never makes a fist, and it always reaches down. And it's holding a scar that once held a nail, where mercy and love poured out of God's hand. God's hand. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I've seen miracles no earthly explanation can explain. Signs and wonders I don't understand. Well, my story's got its fingerprints on every single page. And I know I've been the fool, thought he had a better plan. But these days I'm leaving the pen in God's hand. Whoa, 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 whoa. God's hand. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
So what y'all think of that song?
That was awesome. I hadn't
That
heard
is, man, that just dropped, and I've got his. I thought I had the CD beside me, but I don't. But it's off his new album. You know what? This may be it right here. Let's see. Actually, no, I don't know where I did with it. But it's his new album called "Don't Stop Praying" is the name of it. And man, what a powerful song about seeing signs and wonders that he can't understand. But he's like, these days, I'm just going to leave it in God's hands, and that's what we're supposed to do.
And that goes right back to the topic of God's timing. God's got control, and I say this often that, the big woven Afghans with the big, pretty pictures woven into Afghans. And if you look at the backside of that thing, that's what we see. We see the little threads. We don't see, it doesn't make any sense. It's all these hanging yarns. But God sees the other side. He sees the finished picture. And he knows what it's going to look like. He knows beginning and the end. We don't. We see this little picture right in front of us at this time. I've had, and I don't know, probably since that we talked last, or since I don't know when we did this, when we did the last show together, but it's probably been a year and a half or so anyhow.
I believe so.
Maybe more. But my cancer came back a second time, and I go in for more tests here in a couple of weeks again. But we're just watching every 6 months. My wife and I hardly ever think of it unless something like this comes up where we get a chance to use it as a witness, because I don't concern myself with it. Because like Paul said, to live is Christ, but to die is gain for me. And it's in God's hand. And as long as he's got something for me to do, I'm going to do it. And when he's ready to take me home, it's silly to think that I want to stay here. I want to stay here for my wife and kids and grandkids. But other than that, it's in God's hands. So it's not, there's no concern in it.
Man, I like that. Well, be sure you keep me updated on that. But you're cancer free.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've got cancer right now. I just don't know. We're watching to see if it's going to grow. It's in a place where it can go, it can come out, and it's in the nerve linings. So from the nerve linings, it can go anywhere in the body, but God knows that. And I'm actually, believe it or not, my numbers went way down. I started taking ivermectin and other things that are natural things, and my numbers went down. It's still there, but it's not active right now. So my
That's
wife
great.
just got results today that it's been just skin cancer, but she's got one skin cancer tumor that's got to be cut out, and it's on her throat. But it's we just go about our day. When the doctor told me the first time you got cancer, my wife and I are sitting there, and I said, okay, so what's the plan? Because we're okay with it. She said, I've told thousands of people this news. She said, that's the best response I've ever heard. Why do you have that? Why is that your attitude? So I said, because I got a God that's in charge of it. She said, I've never heard anybody say that before. But if I live or die, I got no control over that. So,
Wow,
anyway,
that's powerful.
yeah.
And speaking of that, so my friend David Patacone just passed away, and he came on my podcast twice. I never got to meet him, sadly. He's a Christian rock musician, but his music was different. His music, they mixed synthesizers mixed with a little bit of Christian rock, and it sounded like music straight out of the 80s, like disco lights, neon colors. And I loved his music because it was different than the normal Christian music everybody listens to. And I got every one of his CDs he ever done, and I talked to him all the time on Messenger. He came on my show twice. Well, he ended up getting stage 4 cancer and sadly passed away from it a few months ago. And it was very upsetting, but like even before his passing, like he just dropped a new album, and it was called Modern Psalms 2 was the name of the album. And then maybe 2 weeks after he passed, his wife released 2 brand new songs that he had been working on. And, even though he went through the cancer, like every day, I have never seen anybody this strong willed for the Lord in my life. When I say, like, I considered him a great friend, just like I do you. And like I followed his music. I knew every one of his songs. Well, he was posting daily his updates since finding cancer, and he wrote songs about it and what he was going through. And one of the things I saw him do was he posted constantly. I was like, yes, I'd like God to heal me so I could do some more rock shows. Do some more shows and get my music out there. He's like, but also I know that if God wants to heal me in heaven, that's fine too. I'm cool with whatever God has for me. And every day it was the same thing. Every time he posted a video update or whatever, and he was always with that attitude, whether I'm healed here on earth or in heaven, I'm okay with it because God knows best. And wow, I can't imagine, because if I had stage 4 cancer, I'm just going to be real with you. I don't think I could be that strong as he was.
I think you'd be surprised. I think when you realize if it comes to that again, you go right back to God's timing. This all revolves back around what God's timing is for us, and how it glorifies Him, and how our lives should glorify Him. And look at the opportunities. My dad died of cancer over 10 years, and they gave him 6 months to a year to live when they found it. And his first thing he told me, I came into his room after his first surgery when they found it, confirmed it was cancer. And I was crying when I walked in. He said, you don't need to cry. He said, if one person comes to Christ because of this, it'll be worthwhile. And I think if we have that attitude in life in general, we can't go wrong. That's what better could we do than that? So I think this all revolves right back to God's timing, God's planning. And then again, back to Romans 8:28, all things work together, to His glory, not to our glory. So it's, it's easy to say that, and it's harder to live it out when the time comes. But it's true. It's really
Yeah.
it's not that hard to live out, really. So, but
So,
it's
and
but
I just can't imagine what he went through, going through that, and which I mean, I go through bad stuff, and I still praise the Lord, but and then something as big as stage 4 cancer, like he was every day. You could hear it in his music, you could see it in his videos he posted. I'm like, man, he is tough because a lot of people couldn't handle it that good.
I'll tell you, I've got an aunt that lives close here, 25 miles from me, and she's in her mid 80s. She just found out just last week that she's got stage 4 gallbladder and liver cancer. So I was texting with her, and we're just going back and forth, and I told her about, if when we go someday, we'll be together, and my dad's, she'll see my dad. I got a little sister that passed away young. And she comes back to me. She said, Dean, she said, you know what? If I don't see you again here, she said, we're going to be together in heaven. She said, I'll see you soon. And I said, and that time goes by so fast. Like I said, we started, our life is this long compared to eternity. So when we're gone and we're in heaven, the amount of time before we catch up to our parents or grandparents is a blink of an eye in the face of eternity.
That's
I don't want to die slow, though. I want to die quick if I have a choice. So.
Yeah, I don't want to know it. I just want to prove that. Hey, look, there's Jesus.
That's right. I want to go to sleep, wake up in heaven.
Yeah, that's because So I got 2 more songs I'm going to play.
Okay.
So this is another new Matthew West song off the same album, and he did this one with Ann Wilson, and I love some Ann Wilson. She's 20-something years old, and she is a country fried Christian. Like I've seen her in concert. When she gets on stage, her whole band is giddied up in cowboy suits, cowboy boots, and I'm like, okay, this is my style of music right here. And so she did this song with him, and it's called Last Days of the Bible, or Last Page of the Bible, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Troubled times, troubled soul, troubled world spinning out of control. Just when you think it can't get worse, it does. Feels like more than I can take. Like this heart was just born to break. But no matter what, there ain't no way I'm giving up, no. 'Cause I've read the last page of the Bible. I know how the story ends. Remember this, my Jesus is coming back again. Trouble may last for a moment, and weeping may last for a night. But I read the last page of the Bible, and it's all gonna be alright.
Yeah, that devil might think he won, but when it's all been said and done, the good book says, and I believe, my God reigns in victory.
I read the last page of the Bible. I know how the story ends. Remember this, my Jesus is coming back again. Trouble may last for a moment, and weeping may last for a night. But I read the last page of the Bible, and it's all gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. Every tear wiped away.
Wiped away,
No more
no more sorrow.
no more pain.
Every tear wiped away. No more sorrow. And I can't wait.
woman.
Weeping may last for a night, but I read the last page of the Bible, and it's all gonna be alright.
What you think of that?
You got a little Tanya Tucker thing going there.
Yes, I like that. And that song deserves a clap from the audience.
That's an amen.
Man, so Rika Davenport says, how are you feeling today?
She's talking to you or me?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I'm feeling dang near skippy. I'm just tired.
I'm tired, but I'm feeling good. I'm supposed to be in an elder board meeting right now in the next room over, but I had a good excuse. I said
Okay.
once you had it posted that I was supposed to be here, I couldn't not be here.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do one more song here, and this one is David Patacone. This is one of his songs. It's off his album called Lamentations, which is one of his newer albums. Oh, she was asking Big Bird. Okay.
Oh,
And I guess Big Bird wasn't here. And so this song is called Storm. And I love the message in this song. It's a little bit different than your normal Christian music, but y'all tell me what you think.
You come the storm and the raging seas. Come the storm inside of me. Let the wind die down and all the noise, so I can clearly hear your voice. Inside I feel I'm dying. The tension is too much. Like a woman bleeding, I only need your touch. Inside I feel I'm dying. The tension is too much. Like the woman bleeding, I only need your touch. And when I say that you are more than me, gotta choose to cry to you. Please take away all my feelings. Here come the storm and the raging seas. Come the storm inside of me. Let the wind die down and all the noise, so I can clearly hear your voice. Inside my heart races, afraid I will flatline. This fear is overwhelming, I'm running out of time. Inside my heart races, afraid I will flatline. This fear is overwhelming, I'm running out of time. I cry out to the living God. I cry out to Jesus Christ. I call out in the midst of pain. I choose to trust in you. I cry out to the living God. I cry out to Jesus Christ. I call out in the midst of pain. I choose to trust in you. And when I say that you are more than me, gotta choose to cry to you. Please take away all my fear inside. And when I say that you are more than me, gotta choose to cry to you. Please take away all my fear inside. Come the storm and the raging seas. Come the storm inside of me.
All right, let's see. Let me pause that. Cool. So what
Hey,
y'all
was-
think about that?
that was like that was kind of like the soft side of Petra.
Yes. Yes. And so this is the
that was my
album.
era. That was my era.
Oh, I love some Petra. I love some Petra. But this is the album. I got it on CD. It's called Lamentations. Come out about a little over a year ago. And the song is called Storm. And then one of the things I liked about, he always autographed the CDs I got from him. So he autographed that. But sadly, he just passed away from the cancer recently. I watched the live stream they did of the memorial service, and that was hard for a lot of people to watch because he reached a lot of people for Christ. But I'll say this, even though he passed away from the cancer, people got to see what he went through with the cancer and saw that he was still praising Jesus regardless of what happened. And that's what I like.
You know, and I honestly believe that if one person comes to Christ through our death, we double the kingdom. You know, I mean, if you look at it that way, if one person comes, and in his situation, probably lots of people came to Christ.
Oh,
And
yes.
there's a guy that lives up in Huntsville, north of you, that Mark Witt, and I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but his dad died in a hunting accident, got shot by another hunter the first day Mark ever hunted with his dad at 12 years old, and he was mad at God for years and years, until he realized that there was more people came to Christ through his dad's death than would have ever come through his life. And I think if we have that attitude, all of a sudden our life isn't worth that much isn't worth enough to worry about it, you know? So, hey, was David Pataconi, was he on Facebook?
Yes.
He actually commented in the past, because I knew a David Pataconi. So I saw David Pataconi comment on some of my stuff quite a while ago. So I looked to see if it was the one that I knew, and it wasn't. It must have been him. So, and
that's cool.
He probably saw my stuff through you, I would assume. So
Yeah, I would assume so. That's cool because his he did that, and he was signed to a record label called AD Windblown Records, and he had a band with one of his best friends, Monica Soe. She's been on the podcast several times. He had a band with her called Theo Terran, and she's got a beautiful voice. If everybody wants to listen to amazing singer, look up Monica Soe on Facebook and look up Theo Terran, and you'll hear her amazing voice. But she's been on the show too. He did that with her, and he did his solo project, and then he had another project he did with an artist named Relesser, and all their music was like the 80s kind of theme music and neon lights and stuff.
yeah.
And so before we end the show here, I want to read from your book here. And so y'all can go to godsgreatoutdoors.org. I got it pulled up on my computer screen there. But y'all need to get you a copy of this 365-day devotional, and of course get you a cookbook too. They make great gifts. And I'm just going to rant.
I'll give you a good deal if you buy one of each to your listeners. How's that? I'll figure it out.
Okay.
So,
man, that's awesome. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm just going to randomly flip here. All right, this is March 27th. It's called Trophies of Grace. It's Need Wisdom. James 1:5. If any of you lack of wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, unbridleth not, and it shall be given to him. In 1 Kings 3:3, Solomon is described in the following positive terms. Solomon loved the Lord, walking in the statutes of David, his father. One night the Lord appeared to Solomon and said, Ask, what shall I give you? In response, Solomon answered, Give your servant, therefore, an understanding mind to govern your people, that I may discern between good and evil, for who is able to govern this, your great people? The passage notes, it pleased the Lord that Solomon had asked this. God delights to give wisdom to those who truly seek it. God responds to Solomon's request for wisdom by promising 3 different gifts. The first is the wisdom Solomon had asked for. I now do according to your word. Behold, I give you a wise and discerning mind, so that none like you has been before you, and none like you shall arise after you. There is no promise that if we ask for wisdom, we will become wealthy or famous as Solomon did. However, God desires to give us wisdom, and as James wrote, let him ask of God that giveth to all men liberally. So ask earnestly for wisdom. You might be surprised what you get along with it. Pretty cool.
I'll tell you a story with that. A long time, well, probably 15 years ago, I was running a camp in Colorado, high in the mountains, and every morning before the hunt, we would do the guides would get together, and one of us would lead a devotional and a prayer time before our hunters came for breakfast. And we left, and it was all Christian guides. It was really a cool camp that we were running. And and every morning, as I'd be going up the mountain, I'd be trekking, leading hunters up. Lots of times in the dark for elk, and I was always praying because it was sucking wind anyhow. So I thought I might as well, pray to God. I'm running on empty in the mornings, and so one morning, a good friend that was a guy led a devotional in the morning, basically just a small study on those verses about praying for wisdom. I thought, man, I'm praying every morning. Why aren't I praying for wisdom? So I started praying for wisdom every morning as I trekked up the mountain, and then for years I prayed for wisdom every day. And at that time, God let me start writing, not writing hunting magazines like, Buckmasters is close to you. For all the national magazines I used to write for, I started writing devotionals from his word. And I started speaking more, and I started doing things. All of a sudden, people were coming to me, asking me questions, not because I had my wisdom, because God was giving me his wisdom. And there's a promise right there. God says, if you pray for wisdom, I'll give you wisdom. And to his glory in the end. But it'll change your life. If your listeners, the people that are on here with us, I'd challenge them, pray for wisdom, because God is going to give it to you. And all of a sudden you'll know things. I speak in front of churches sometimes. I don't have any idea what I'm going to speak on. God gives me the wisdom to do it. And that's how that devotional came about that you just read. It was me praying for wisdom, climbing the mountains every morning, and it changed my life.
Wow, that is so cool. That is so cool. So when y'all go to his website, and you can I get your emails too. I get your devotional emails.
Yep.
So y'all can sign up to get devotional emails,
Yep.
and they can donate to your ministry if they want to.
That's always good.
Awesome.
I'm donor supported. That's how I make a living. So, and God fills it in. So, but hey, let's not wait another 2 years to do this again.
Yeah, look, like, I don't care if you tell me you want to come on.
You call
a
me
week from now.
Anytime you need somebody, you call me. I'll be here.
Okay.
I love doing this.
So, and if anybody's watching, if they would be interested in one of my handmade crosses I make, y'all holler at me. I always put a Bible verse on the front of my crosses. I stain them, and then I put on the bottom Coon Hunters Outdoor Ministries, and then I put my initials on them if anybody wants one. But I sell them. Okay, well, I tell you what. Send me a message. What Bible verse do you want on yours, and I'll get one out to you.
Okay, I'll do that.
Because I make these all by hand. I use American-made nails. I don't use no Chinese garbage. And I stain them, and a lot of times I'll stain the back too. I mean, I'll burn the back too with a inscription. And I always use my burner. And most of this wood I use is super, like most of this wood's 20 times older than I am. So I love old wood and real dark wood like this. Awesome. And I appreciate everybody watching. Thanks for coming on. And if anybody's got any prayer requests, I know we got one person watching. Y'all drop your prayer request. I know our friend Jessica, she needs prayers, her health. Pray for my awesome friend Jessica. She was watching. We love you, Jessica. We're praying for you. And then Let's see. Pray for me, my feet problem, dealing with my feet hurting for years. And thankfully, right now, my right foot's not hurting. And then the other prayer request that I can think of is pray for the fuel arrestor business me, Robbie, and Jeff's got going. And then the radio station with JT and Jason help it to grow. So,
Pray for my wife Linda with her
yes.
cancer, so, and her surgery coming up.
And God can do it because you got to have faith of a mustard seed. And if you know how big a mustard seed is, that's smaller than a ballpoint pen.
Yeah.
So you want to pray us out?
I would love to. Heavenly
Cool.
Father, Lord, I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you for Jared and his desire to do this, to share you with others, Lord, through something as interesting and seemingly to some people as meaningless as coon hunting. But Lord, you've got a plan in everything that you put before us, every blessing that you give us, Lord, and your timing is perfect. Your will is perfect. I just thank you for this opportunity. I pray for these requests, especially Jessica, Lord, and the others that have requests and have needs. I pray that you would be glorified through their lives and through whatever you do there, through Jared's feet, Lord, of healing, and Lord, and like Paul with praying to have his issues removed, but you kept them there, and Lord, you keep us in situations, and sometimes painful situations, but in the end, it's to our betterment and to your glory, and we thank you for that. We pray you'd go before us until Jared comes back again on the air next time, that you'd protect us, that we'd bring glory to you through our lives. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. There's my buddy Joey Bogus watching. I'll try and just. Oh, you know Joey. Okay.
Hey, Joey.
Joey's an awesome dude. I haven't seen Joey in a long time because he lives in.
We've never met, but Joey's a friend with a friend of mine from Lower Michigan, and we've talked on the phone. And I've been up his way in north part of the state, but we've never met.
That's awesome. Oh, I first met Joey through going to the World Deer Expo. It was either that one or Buckmasters. I used to see him at both because he worked with See Easy Products, and he was always at their booth. And that's where I know Joey from. So Joey's an awesome brother in Christ. I'm glad to see Joey on here.
Yeah. Well,
I need to get Joey on the show.
Yeah. I like I said, we've talked. I think the last time I talked to you, he was taking his son hunting and killed a buck up the north part of Alabama there. So, but hey, call me anytime that I can help you. I love to get on. Anytime we can talk hunting and fishing, the outdoors, and God and what Christ has done, I'm in.
Okay, great. And next week's show, I have Mr. Ewell Netter going to come on. He's a Christian gospel artist or a Christian rap artist that we play on the station. He's going to be coming on. He sent me some new songs that I'm getting played on the radio station. So I'm excited. I've never interviewed him before. So he'll be next week. And maybe I get Joey on down the road there. But I appreciate Dean coming on.
We got to get you a better class of music.
We need some more bluegrass.
Yeah, there you go. So.
Hey, I love me some bluegrass. I grew up. If we can find some gospel bluegrass, I'll play it on here.
I'm actually every August I MC a gospel festival, and there's a lot of bluegrass. There's barbershop quartets. There's families singing, and I love it. There's none of your kind of music. I guarantee there's no punk and nothing rapping and nothing.
No. Yeah, I listen to country, southern rock, country rap, Christian rap, and Christian rock music. And sometimes I'll mix in Christian worship music. But most of the time, if it's K-Love, I don't listen to K-Love that much. But
I don't think there's a such thing as country or Christian rap. I still don't believe you.
He still doesn't believe me. One of these days, Joey, we're gonna have to convert him.
Listen, I got to get back to a meeting. Been great being here with you. Anytime you want to have me on with you, I love to do this. We spend a couple hours talking about what God's doing.
That's right. We'll see you later. Thank you.
Love you, brother.
Love you.
Talk to you later.
Cool. Bam. That was Dean Hulce. I got to get off live. JT's going to do his show in just a minute. See y'all later. Facing Goliath Rock Show is next with JT interviewing Jason Wayne with Drown the Planet. That's next.